Nance hasn't asked a question yet. Nance.
How do you see the role of comedy in a work that you do not intend to be comedic?
Maintain.
Is there a role necessarily?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. How many of you are going to remember this class session? Okay, almost all the hands went up. That's awesome. I think, I could be wrong, that you will remember it better because you laughed. Okay, not all of you laughed. As a matter of fact, some of you really didn't laugh, and that hurts me inside. But many of you did, and when you laughed, you were having a physiological response as your brain did things, experienced some sort of cognitive moment, some sort of subverted left turn or whatever, and the information is going to stay with you longer. So why do I want to put humor in a book? So that you'll remember that page. Something important happened there, and I made a joke, and it stuck with you. Other uses, relieve tension. Familiar with scene-sequel format? Okay, scene, car chase. Sequel, standing around at the ambulance. Scene, fighting off the assassins at the hospital. Sequel, hiding out at grandmother's house because maybe they can't find us here. Okay? Scenes are where things happen, and sequels are where we respond to those things. Humor fits really well in sequel, in the chapter after the car chase, because that's what we as human beings naturally do. Somebody in that group might just be jerk enough to pull the, oh, dude, low-hanging airplane joke, or whatever its equivalent is, okay? That's how we deal with stress. And so humor is a tension breaker during the sequel portions of your story. How else? Humor as a way to explore the characters. The Niven example that I gave earlier, when the puppeteer says, what sane creature would interrupt a defense mechanism? Well, okay, I laughed, but I also learned something about the extent of the puppeteer's cowardice. It's not a personality trait, it's genetic. It's freaking anatomical. He's an anatomical coward. And let me turn the question on its head. Why do you put anything in your book? What purpose does it serve? Why did we describe the campsite? Why did we name the horses? Why did I talk about the history of the hero's sword? Why did I write any of that? Hopefully it had a reason to be in the book, and you need to be able to answer that question for everything you put down. Now, I'm not suggesting that you should slow your writing to 1/2 its current pace, and after every sentence, ask yourself, why did I write this sentence? Don't do that. Write all of the words first, and then go back and justify the existence of those words, whether they're funny or serious or horrific or I was going to say sexy, but romantic is probably better for this context. I'm done with that answer. Next question. Yes, sir.
I have heard that humor is short and that it is concise, but I have seen counterexamples such as Rich Burlew, who tends to be very long-winded with his joke. What do you think is the role of brevity and conciseness in humor, and is it desirable?
Brevity is the soul of wit. We've heard that before. Real estate is location, location, location. Humor is delivery, delivery, delivery. It's all how you deliver it. If the punchline is too long, it usually doesn't work. If the punchline is the end of a long sentence or a long story, it might be a shaggy dog joke. Shaggy dog jokes are usually long, involved stories that end with a pun. One little pun, and you realize, oh, the whole joke was here just so I could say, a pun. And now I can't remember any of those. Those used to be my favorite kind of jokes because they're so disappointing for the audience. To tell them, not to listen to them, obviously. So brevity certainly helps. The acid test is it funny? If I'm reading a punchline, if I'm reading something I've written and realize, wow, this isn't working. Why isn't it working? It isn't working because visually, there's too many words. That word's too long. It's a funny word, but it's too long. I need to replace that word with the word monkey, because the word monkey, I can bank on that word. Apparently not in this room, but in other locations, people love the word monkey. Like any rule, it's made to be broken. Rich Burlew does funny stuff, and sometimes his jokes fall flat for me. That's not to say that it falls flat for everybody. And I guess that's another good rule for humor. Back to that interrupted defense mechanism, you're not going to make everybody laugh. You make a lot of people laugh. A comedian who is doing their HBO comedy special will make everybody laugh because all of those people are familiar with his work, they're fans of what he does, he or she does, and they've paid money to be in those seats, and the people next to them are laughing, so darn it, they're going to have a good time. Don't judge your writing, your humor, against a comedy special, because that's never the audience you guys get, unless you're, stand-up comedians who get HBO comedy specials, in which case, congratulations. So. Casey.
I understand the concept of working at something and the innateness.
I understand the concept of working, but I'm not a fan. I'm looking for a way around, so we've got working here, and we've got a goal here, and I'm looking for an opportunity to do this. Go on with your question. I like it already.
But I can also see the other side, like it's a sense of humor. Like if you don't have a good taste of food, I don't think, you could, I guess you could go to culinary school, but if you're always going to have a mediocre set. How do you think those two weigh against each other?
I do not believe that it is genetic. I don't believe that it is innate. I think that it's something that you can develop. I have never seen compelling evidence otherwise. And I've spent 7 years studying talent versus focused practice, heritability versus acquisition, and I don't see what you're saying. Yes, I mean, we've all known a class clown. Why is he funny? Why is the class clown funny? Well, usually he's not. Usually he's just a terrified jerk who desperately wants to be funny and has learned how comic drop works. And people kept laughing, and so the class clown kept refining his comic drop and got to be really good at it because it was something that he needed and it was something that he liked. How many of you would like to be funny? How many of you would like to be fantasy novelists? We already asked this question, okay? If it is something that you would like, if it is something that you enjoy, you are much more likely to pour time and energy and passion into it. If there's something that you enjoy, you're going to practice it. I mean, I see what you're saying. There are people who we look at and we say, wow, he is so funny. I could never be that funny. Don't tell yourself that. Never tell yourself that. Never say never. I've said it 3 times in a row. Don't tell yourself you can't do something that you want to be able to do, because 1, you're lying to yourself, and 2, you're establishing a career path. A career path that doesn't include the thing that you want. So, I'm not trying to be a motivational speaker. I'm so sorry.